Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Timothy Elizondo here for episode number 3 of Tim Tries to Write His Philosophy Outline in 15 minutes a day or less. So let me start my timer here. So I got things going on and I'm disheveled. My shirt is wrinkly. I don't feel like I can get my hair just in order. It's almost like a physical manifestation of inner state because I don't feel like doing this today. But it's a journey of 1,000 steps, and I don't want to have to do twice as much down the road. And I think really one of the big kind of key ideas that really kind of helped me through college, and particularly finishing my thesis and finishing my dissertation, is, it's like Shawshank Redemption. You just get a spoon every day, and eventually you'll see the light. So with that in mind, last time we were here, what happened? Last time we were here, we talked about this idea of cutting cards, this idea of pulling information out from a textbook or from a piece of evidence, labeling it with a sentence or a claim that captures what you are extracting from that evidence or what that evidence proves, and then kind of just leaving it there hanging out by itself for the moment. So let me get to that really quick and see where I found that. All right, so that's not it. Let me close that. Nah, I don't want to save that. It is good. It's going to go, let's go there. All right, so that is these different cards. And last time that so here's the piece of evidence that I pulled out from Ward. It's a Ward. It's not Ward, it's Payne. And then in bold, that's my sentence. So it's called a tag. All right. So with that in mind, the next step then, historically speaking, is once you have all these different cards in the realm of debate, we would actually cut them out and take them on different pieces of paper, right? So I don't know, do I have any paper I can illustrate this? Sure, let me use this one. So I would have this is a card, and then I'd have a different card with a claim and a piece of evidence, and I have all these different now cards. So what we would do in grad school, and also in debate before we started using computers, is we'd lay them out on the ground and start organizing. Actually organizing the sequence, okay, what goes where and what goes where, so that eventually we would have an organized stack of the sequence that we want to move through this line of argumentation with. All right, but luckily we are no longer living in the dinosaur days. We are now living in a time period where we have a Microsoft Word document. So let's go to one of those. And this was once my outline that I started with very day number 1, in which I just wrote up here, I wrote main idea, and then here I wrote main idea number 2. And what I've done in the meantime since this last episode is I just rewrote those sentences. And I think I'm trying to use an approach influenced from chapter 2, where I'm trying to organize my paper like a syllogism, like a deductive argument. Because why not? Right? So looking at the claims, what I've set up here is the study of philosophy is super important for students. And I know that's not the great or the best way to word it, but it's my outline. That's what I'm going to use for right now, because conceptually that makes sense to me. And then down below, I'm going to have a section that says students are in danger if we don't have philosophy. So in other words, this is going to be a section about, okay, if we don't have philosophy, what's bad? I think some of this stuff I can take off right now because I'm going to be replacing it in a moment, particularly with an A subpoint. So now I'm just looking for Evan. All right, so philosophy is important. All right, so philosophy is important. All right, okay, here we go. All this stuff. I can copy that, and I'm going to put that right there. Control B. Boom. All right, so now let me clean up this. Actually be a B subpoint. Nope. I'm going to leave that. Progress. I don't like my formatting right now because that's not exactly lining up. All right, so that's super important. But this liberates us. That's the piece of evidence I want to have. Will that let me just do a B? All right. I think what I have to do now is that makes me super nervous. So I just want a new blank document. As I start organizing my cards. And I understand this isn't going to be like a super exciting process, right? But this is the process. Why is this doing this? Why am I having outlining issues? Can I just clear on my outlining? Can I just clear on my format? People out there probably know how to do it, but I don't. All right, so philosophy leads to knowledge. All right, well, at least I can like just start putting stuff. I'm going to outline this later. I got to kill this video. Hello everybody, this is Dr. Timothy Elizondo. We're here for episode number 3 of Tim Tries to Write His Philosophy Outline in 15 minutes a day or less. And I'll be honest with you here. Oh, so let me set my timer here. Alrighty, boom. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not feeling the creative inspiration today. I feel disheveled. My shirt's all wrinkly. My hair just feels all kind of poofy and all over the place. I just can't even get the energy to shave. I think I'm really just trying to perhaps just embrace the whole like philosophy professor thing and just really lose it as I mumble to myself on camera. But I think the big idea here is that even though I may not be in the mood to do it, I have to do it anyways, because this is a journey of 1,000 steps. And if Shawshank Redemption teaches us anything, the road to victory is actually taking a spoon and just chipping away a little bit each day at the rock until we're out of here. And I think that's really something that I learned that got me out of my master's degree program with my thesis, or more particularly my dissertation, my PhD program, because you just have to chain yourself to something and just like then eventually you'll be done. All right, so with that in mind, let's turn our attention more towards this outline that I'm writing as relates to the cancellation of philosophy. So as you might recall, in episode 2's cliffhanger, I spent episode 2 turning my evidence into cards, a process in which a scholar takes a piece of evidence, extracts it out, and then labels it with a particular sentence that tries to capture exactly what that evidence helps to demonstrate and or prove. Like a better word. All right, so once we have all these different like cards, right, that we perhaps have used from 3 essays or I don't know, a chapter in a textbook, in the olden days, before the advent of computers, we would have all these cards actually printed out on different pieces of paper. And the next step would be to take the cards and to actually organize them on the floor. You're like, all right, that card, it's going to go here, and then we're going to have this card there, and then this next card is going to be third, to figure out the organization sequence of the arguments that we would like to be making. All right. Luckily, we don't live in the age of dinosaurs anymore, and we have the ability to use a computer to do that for us. So that is at the heart of episode number 3. So last time we were here are my different evidence cards, right? This was my first card. I think we actually kind of maybe like formatted it a little bit, right? And that would be my first card, and then down here is going to be my second card, right? And that's the evidence. Right, so I'm just kind of making these giant like evidence briefs that I'm going to be using in this course. I might use this for this outline, I might use it for another outline, I might use it for another course I'm taking. Right, because it's my evidence now, they're my cards that I get to use forever and ever. I also noticed that I used Ward as the author for this piece of evidence, so I just changed it to Payne. I think Ward is in another textbook in my postmodernism class that I once taught. All right, so what do I need to do? I need to go to a different outline. So here's the base outline that I started with in episode 1. All right, this is my outline for philosophy exam about counseling philosophy. That's just my title. I know I need to have a thesis. I'm not really quite sure what my thesis is going to be, exactly how it's written, but I just based on the reading, right? So this has nothing to do with what I actually think, or like my own opinion, my own belief. Because that doesn't matter, right? It's got to be like based on what the evidence like allows me to argue. It seems to me from reading all the different evidence that the authors are arguing that studying philosophy is good. Now, can I argue that, hey, canceling philosophy, great, let's get rid of it? Sure, but it's going to be much harder to do with the available evidence in front of me. So my approach is, I'm just going to look at the evidence and go with the direction that the evidence seems to be pointing. And we'll see what happens then. All right. So with that in mind, I need to go back to my outline, and I think my thesis is going to be that, and this is just a working thesis. Obviously this is not going to be is terrible for students and our community as a whole. All right. So that's my working thesis. I'm just going to worry about that later. But generally speaking, I want to be trying to construct this argument that canceling philosophy is going to be detrimental. And upon first glance, I'm going to be using maybe a 3-point structure, although I don't know. And I think I'm just going to organize it like a syllogism, right? What's a syllogism? Well, a syllogism, right, taken from chapter, well, 2 in Rahut, and then Payne's would be chapter 3. But, or no, chapter 2 would be how an argument is structured, right? The relationship between the claims. So, in my head after reading the evidence, here's what I think I've got. I think in this first one is the study of Philo is important for students and citizens. All right, so I think here I want to be arguing that it's not just that it helps students and perhaps like argue that, you know, it helps develop like student skills, but also that there's a relationship between just like being a functioning member in a community and what philosophy can help us think about or ask or question or answer. I think here is going to be not studying Philo is dangerous. And if that's a syllogism, right, this says studying philosophy is important for students and citizens, not studying Philo is dangerous. Columbia College wants to cancel Philo, therefore canceling is dangerous. Yeah, I think that's kind of the logic of the outline. Now, again, this logic might change. I'm not necessarily committed to where things are placed at this point in my essay, but I think just from a visual perspective, this is where I want to go. So I think what I want to do is I want to be starting up here with this one. I'm just going to push all this other stuff down below. Is there a way I can blow this up bigger? Yeah, okay, I think I can blow that up bigger. And then let's go to the first thing that I want to grab. All right, so the first thing I want to grab is I'm looking for things that just kind of help like illuminate the way that studying philosophy is super important. And so I think right here, this is going to be, again, I need to add Payne just to remind myself of who that is. And I'm going to take that, I'm going to cut and paste this. So I'm going to copy it, I'm going to move it up here, and I'm going to paste it. Boom. And then I'm going to spend some time just cleaning up the format of it. right? Because sometimes format doesn't always carry over. All right, so